Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Out of Spec podcast. I'm your host, Francie. Hope you're having a nice day. At the end of last year, basically all major automakers had said, all right, we are going to, in one way or another, adopt the North American charging standard, what is now the J3400 standard, into our future cars. And in the meantime, we're going to get adapters for our CCS drivers so that they can use the Supercharger network when Tesla lets them on. I did an overview of who came to their agreement with Tesla and what the details that they gave at that time were, who was left, and we've watched that evolve over time. But like I said, basically all major automakers that you could ever really care about, VinFast, where's your announcement, have made their plans to go with NACS pretty public. Of course, questions have since then been asked all the time of who's getting Supercharger access and when. Right now, it's only Ford and Rivian, but there are some hums and haws about GM. So that's what we're going to talk about today, access to the Supercharger network and the leaks regarding GM's movement towards the North American charging standard. All right, let's plug in. This episode is made possible by the support we get from Fort Collins Kia. If you are in the market for any electric Kia, not only do they never add market adjustments, they will deliver your car to you anywhere in the 48 contiguous states for out-of-spec viewers. More information in the link in the show notes. If you have been paying attention to the podcast, we recently had Patrick and Liv from Mach-E Vlog, who are Ford Mustang Mach-E owners and have been for a while, and who recently did a road trip where they used a bunch of the Tesla Supercharger network because they can, and told us all about it. So definitely tune into that recent episode. But they talked about the charging adapter that they used, and we really got some insight into, do they prefer the Supercharger network over the CCS network, even with the bit of the hiccups that an adapter or the charging speeds, charging on a network that's basically made for another kind of vehicle, Teslas with your Mach-E. So that was really cool. We talked about charging adapters a little bit. So Rivian and Ford were the first automakers out to get access to the Tesla Superchargers. And so this, of course, as you know, requires adapters, since both Rivian and Ford currently only ship out their cars with a CCS1 port, the standard charging connector in the US, before they will eventually switch to having the North American charging standard, NACS, NACS, native in their EVs. We're still waiting to see exactly what that looks like. And a lot of people have been waiting for their adapters. So Rivian and Ford have both decided to have Tesla make their adapter at this point in time. This has caused quite a long wait time for the adapter since Tesla has been quite production constrained. There have been some stories that have covered this a good bit, and it just really is not that easy to make a ton of adapters for a whole new network of cars to come on. And this is kind of new technology. It gets hot. It affects the charging speeds because an adapter is, as Oleg, the chairman of Charin, recently said on a podcast, kind of a necessary evil. All right, we need it, but it's not perfect. It's not the charging standard. There are a lot more points of contact and points of failure that come up when using an adapter. It's like when we all had to use dongles when everyone started changing the USB ports, the lightning ports, if you were using Apple, and then you just had a bunch of dongles. And now it's like, can we just decide on a standard? That's kind of what's going on here. So if people were too eager to get an adapter, they have been buying third-party adapters. Some of the most popular third-party adapters are A to Z EV. It's rated for 500 amps, 1,000 volts. And I'm going to say really quick, we do not endorse using any third-party adapters. I think that if you have a car from a certain automaker, you should use any adapter that they approve. Okay. That's the A to Z EV one is around $221 right now. It's a Canadian company. It's a compact NACS adapter. Lectron is another one. It's rated at 500 amps, 1,000 volts. It's more around $199, and it has a spring latch on the NACS side. But there was a bit of a Lectron controversy. So the NHTSA, the Highway and Traffic Safety Association, did recall that adapter, which is a little bit spooky. If you have it, you probably don't want to recall. After Brandon Flash actually made a YouTube video. So the issue was with the latch not engaging, which means it could be released with a live cable, which is a serious safety issue. Apparently, the updated version also has problems, as was noted in some tweets from the Mach E vlog with Patrick and Liv. And so it's really, we're just not in a space where you can be super confident with adapters. So while Rivian and Ford drivers can gain access to the Supercharger network, using the adapter from the automaker is certainly the best and safest choice for you at this point. So Rivian, as their stance on third-party adapters, they say that only Rivian-provided NACS DC adapters are authorized for use on the Tesla Supercharger network. Use of unapproved adapters can result in damage to your vehicle. Any damage caused by the use of third-party adapters is not covered under warranty. What about Ford on third-party adapters? Ford does not recommend or endorse specific aftermarket adapters. To avoid the risk of serious injury or property damage, they write, only use NACS DC adapters sold or provided by Ford or Tesla for use at Tesla superchargers. Tesla prohibits the use of any other adapter with Tesla charging stations. Do not attempt to use NACS AC adapters with NACS DC fast chargers. Failure to follow these instructions may result in vehicle damage not covered by the vehicle warranty. Ford does not guarantee compatibility with aftermarket charging adapters. Of course, everyone is basically saying, listen, I'm sorry, but don't use the third-party adapters. We cannot guarantee your safety there. And of course, on a DC charger, you should not be using an AC adapter, and adapters should not be both DC and AC capable. So the next automaker that is rumored to access the Supercharger network is General Motors, GM, and they are already preparing adapters. According to data from Chevy's websites, which was gathered by Starbase Photos on Twitter, they will have the official charging adapter that Rivian and Ford have made by Tesla, but they also have listed a third-party adapter on their website. So we can assume that this is an adapter that they want to endorse, and from Lectron, that one that I was talking about earlier with the recall and the issues. In that case, they're the first automaker to endorse a third-party NACS adapter if this is true. GM did confirm multiple suppliers. We can find information that hints at GM knowing about the production bottleneck and trying to solve this. As they said, to ensure GM is supporting customer demand for NACS adapters, the company plans on leveraging multiple suppliers to produce enough volume. While the physical appearance of the initial GM NACS adapters may vary, each has been developed and tested to the same standards, helping to ensure customers can charge their EV safely and efficiently at chargers which utilize the North American charging standard. Both of these adapters, according to Chevy's website's current information, have a rated current of 300 amps at 35 degrees Celsius or 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and has a boost current of 500 amps for 10 minutes. From this data, we could also find that the 2019 and 2020 Chevy Bolts will need a software update to work with Tesla superchargers once they open for GM. So the message read that Chevrolet has informed owners of some model year 19 and model year 20 Bolt EVs that a software update is necessary to ensure a successful charging experience. Other data that was found was this NACS DC adapter is a portable adapter designed to enable a vehicle with CCS1 inlet to utilize applicable NACS chargers. GM customers can locate applicable superchargers through their GM vehicle brand mobile apps. So that's interesting. They're basically saying there's a message that went out that if you use your app, you can see what applies to you. Well, if they're that close, it's likely that they're going to be getting access to the Supercharger network soon, or else why would their customers need to be getting access through their GM apps? GM also has a similar warning to the other automakers. So GM strongly advises that customers use a GM NACS adapter for charging on the DC fast charger network, which have been specifically designed to protect GM EV batteries while charging. That's an important note, is that there's different technology in different EVs. They're not all designed like Tesla. Tesla designed superchargers to work with Tesla EVs. Now with Rivian and Ford and GM and all the other automakers that distinctly design their EVs, use different batteries, use different electrical architecture, it's really important that your adapter is specifically designed to work with your EV. They go on to say, damage to vehicle components resulting from the installation or use of non-GM approved parts is not covered under the terms of the vehicle limited warranty and may affect remaining warranty covered for affected parts. So that's a bit of an overview of this leak. GM at this point in time in late July, early August of 2024, doesn't have official access to the Supercharger network, though because of these leaks, because of this messaging from GM, we do expect it to happen soon. So that would be two big automakers, Ford and GM, and then of course Rivian, a big electric vehicle automaker specifically, getting access to the Supercharger network, seeing how this rollout of phasing in these cars onto the network works, and how we can all really come together to use the Supercharger network. I'm sure there's a lot of lessons being learned, and one of them will be with adapters. So remember, be safe, be educated, also drive safe, stay charged. Let me know what you thought about this topic. I'll see you next time on the next episode. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, y'all.